Hi everyone, I'm Jessie and I'm back. For those who followed me a couple years ago and I kind of went MIA off of YouTube for a little while, I had a baby and some stuff go on and just kind of had to take a break. I am coming today to say hello again, and I'm back and I hope to be making lots of videos again. But to kind of explain why ever since I've had my daughter, where I've been, and on a topic that I think is unfortunately a taboo topic, and it shouldn't be. I may tear up a little bit. Sorry. I don't mean to be so drama and so heavy so soon in this video, but it's gonna happen a few times, so get used to it for a minute. But bear with me because this is a topic that needs to be talked about and it needs to be out there and it needs to be empowered. After I had my daughter, let me back up. So before I got pregnant with my fourth baby, I had 3 boys and now we just had a baby girl 2 years ago. And she is the love of our life. When I got pregnant with her, I was in probably the best shape of my life. I was running hard, I was working out hard, I was eating good, I was in a great place. I was so good in a good mental place, a good spiritual place, all around. Like, I was doing so good. I felt really good after having 3 kids and raising 3 babies in 2 years, and our life was crazy, and it had just kind of finally balanced out, and so we decided to have our last baby, and I talked my hubby into it, and we jumped on board, got her here. Throughout my pregnancy, I was able to work out after the first 4 or 5 months of being really sick, but then I got back into it. I felt really good. It's not about working out. This is not what that video is about. It is about postpartum. Depression and anxiety. Sunny was born. I had a natural childbirth with no complications. It went wonderful. My recovery was wonderful. I had my 6-week checkup like everyone does, and everything was great. I was feeling great. I was ready to go back to the gym. I went to the gym. I wanted to be neurologically clear. I wanted to get back to my normal self. I wanted to be right back in the running shape that I had been in. And it wasn't about weight. It wasn't about proving anything to anyone. It was, I just wanted to be back where I was before I had Sunny. I wanted to just feel good, and I was going to have the best recovery ever. I was determined. And I was doing that. I was doing great. And about 7 weeks, I started bleeding, and I hadn't bled very much. Sorry, this is TMI. I apologize, but this is, I think, needs to be said. About 7 weeks, I started bleeding, and it wasn't heavy, but it was just constant. And wouldn't stop. And I counted, and being in the medical field, I think we take better care of our patients than ourselves. And for 16 days, I was bleeding, and finally decided I'm going to call my doctor. Finally, one more day, I'll call him. One more day would pass, I'd call him. One more day would pass, and I would call him. But I didn't call him. And about 16 days, I finally stopped. I'm like, oh, good, we're great. I stopped. So I tried to just move on. I was nursing. Sunny is my daughter's name. Everything was going great. My milk supply was wonderful. Everything was great. And one day, one morning, it was like 6 in the morning. For some reason, my oldest boy had woke up before I usually wake him up from school, and he was sitting next to me just whispering as I was nursing my baby. And all of a sudden, the hair on my neck stood up. I started to feel really anxious. I wasn't breathing very good. Not because I couldn't breathe, but I couldn't catch my breath. And my little boy was just whispering to me cute, fun little things, and I finally told him, I said, honey, you need to stop talking. Mommy is not feel good right now. I couldn't describe it to him. I couldn't describe it to myself. Long story short, I had an anxiety attack, and it lasted for a couple hours. and it wasn't huge, it wasn't major, but it was my first one, so it was really hard. It was hard to get through. I went immediately to my oils and got Balance and Serenity. I was gonna have them to show you. Here's Serenity. I don't have a Balance bottle with me right now, but doused myself in those and got it calmed down, got the kids to school, and I felt good the rest of the day. Well, that was on a Tuesday, and slowly through the week, I noticed my milk supply was a little bit lower and lower and lower and lower. And by Saturday night, because I would pump after every nursing feeding, by Saturday night, I was pumping 0 milk. And Sunny was really fussy and I couldn't figure out why. So I tried to pump because she wouldn't eat and I had nothing. And long story short, the anxiety attack had dried my milk up. I fought and fought and fought. I used basil oil and fennel oil. Oh, here you go. There's fennel. Can you guys see that? Sorry. And basil. To increase my milk supply, plus I pumped. That's not what the story's about. But anyways, got it back. Started having anxiety attacks probably every other day, sometimes every day. And just kind of a constant bothered feeling. I don't know how to describe it to somebody that hasn't ever had that before. I think when a lot of people think of anxiety, they think of like you're just stressed, like you just have lots of stuff going on. My anxiety would hit when I was literally just sitting down, being peaceful. It wasn't when I'm running and chasing 4 kids around and doing all that stuff. It was when I was at calm places. But it would decrease my milk supply every time that I would have an anxiety attack. And so when I would feel the anxiety attacks coming on, that's what I was stressing about. I could handle the anxiety attacks, like whatever, we'll get through them, like it's fine. But I knew I was going to lose my milk, and not lose it, but it would drastically decrease. And I would spend a couple days just pumping because I was adamant I was going to nurse for 12 months at least with Sunny, and that's another story. I wasn't able to nurse my twins for only a few months, and it was really mentally hard for me. But anyways, so I just wanted to make this video because this is what was really hard for me. I couldn't even think about doing extra things, and I'm a person that runs on stress. Good stress or bad stress. I like to be busy. I don't like to have a lot of time to sit around. I like to always have projects going. So it was really hard for me. Getting day to day was so hard. Getting out of bed in the morning was so hard. I'm sorry, I need to hit back on when I started bleeding. I went and got some levels checked to figure out what was wrong. I didn't know if my thyroid was freaking out, but my iron level from bleeding had dropped, and that's when it triggered something neurological. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not a doctor of postpartum. I don't know everything about it, but from the doctors and some specialists I spoke to, they think that's what triggered it, and that's why it started coming in. But anxiety is real, and postpartum is real. I don't care what people say, and I had never really been through it or realized I had been through it. I kind of went through it with the twins, but didn't realize what it was. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. The reason I'm making this video is because I want it to be out there, and I know I'm just one person, but I know you guys can help me share, and you guys can make a change in those people and those women around you to help them. I'm kind of a prideful person, I have to admit that. I don't like to admit that something's wrong with me. I love helping people that have things that are wrong with them, but it's really hard for me to be vulnerable without my amazing husband and my amazing family helping me which I don't think any of them, including my husband, because I didn't let him know how bad it was, without them helping me, I would have not made it. And when I say that, I don't say that for attention, and I don't say it to have you guys comment and say, I'm so sorry, I can't believe you were in that spot. I am saying this because there are other women out there who are suffering from this and don't know what to do. And you hear about those women who hurt themselves. I never once ever had the thought of hurting my children or anyone else. I was just so tired. So tired of waking up and not knowing if I was going to have an anxiety attack. Not knowing if it was going to be okay to go to my little boy's baseball game or football game or wrestling meet or even school or in the grocery store, because I didn't know if I was going to lose my mind having an anxiety attack, because that's how I felt. I felt like I was going to die when I would have those anxiety attacks. I knew I would get through it, but that little voice in my head saying you're going to get through this was the only thing that got me through. And my beautiful babies around me. But those women who you hear randomly walk out in the middle of the freeway because they just lost it and they just want it to go away. I was there. There was only one time that I can remember it got so bad. And I was driving home. I think it must have been from work because I was by myself on the freeway. And I had the thought that if I drove my car hard and fast enough and hard enough into one of those concrete pillars, that there was no way I'd survive. But I would not have to feel this anymore. I wouldn't have to feel like I was worthless and that I was a bad mom, and because all of that just messes with you. The anxiety attacks for one thing, but after so long of them wearing on me, it started to lead into depression, and I think I did a really, really good job. I will pat myself on the back for that, even though I don't think it's a good thing, of covering it up. I don't think most people around me really realized the dark dark hole that you feel like you're in. And it's one of those things that you feel like you've lost such control. You don't know what to do for yourself. Normally, if it was my best friend and I knew she was going through this, I would say, let's get you back on track with your supplements. Let's get you oils. Let's get you an antidepressant if you need it. Let's replace all those things, a high amino acid diet, or just, there's so many things that you can do to help yourself in this situation. But when you're in the situation, you're in this place where there's no way out of it. I don't know how to describe it unless you've been through it. But you feel like you're in this darkest place with nobody understands. But I'm sorry it's so heavy. I know all of you know at least a person, if not yourself, that's felt this. And a lot of people say, well, if these women are going crazy, why don't they stop having kids? Well, it's not really about having the kids. And that's another part that's really hard to admit, the anxiety and the depression that you're in, because you see this beautiful baby that you hold. And you don't want anyone to feel like or think that you're ungrateful for them, because I wouldn't trade a child in the world. I would have anxiety the rest of my life to have my 4 children in my life. But it's not about that. And it shouldn't be shameful to admit that you are struggling so hard, because I struggled so hard. I literally felt like I was going to die when it would happen. And I felt like my heart was going to beat out of my chest. I felt weak, and and I didn't want to feel weak. I didn't want anyone to know. And there was a couple times where I couldn't hide it, and my family found out. And that was okay. But I think they thought that was just the only times it happened because I would not admit how bad it was. But I think that's the first step. We need to ask for help. We need to sleep. We need to sleep as mothers. Whether it be having a group for your friends that have kids, take 2 hours. Everyone trade time and take 2 hours. When you don't know how to help a young mother or a new mom when I say new mom, I just mean having a new baby. It could be the 5th or 6th baby. It doesn't have to be the first one. And you ask how that you can help, and they say, I'm fine, I'm doing great. You know what? Insist. Push your way into their lives because they need help. Whether they realize it or not, they need that space, even if it's an hour or 30 minutes, just to go to the grocery store by themselves. Who couldn't use 30 minutes in Target? Am I kidding? 30 minutes, 3 hours. They just need space. They need nutrition. They need, and if they need mental help is not a bad thing. It's real. It's as real as diabetes. If someone had diabetes, wouldn't you help them out? Wouldn't you ask for help if you were diagnosed with diabetes? It's the same. Ask for help if you have postpartum depression or anxiety. I'm gonna move on to what I used. I was taking a lot of supplements once I finally got the water up to here instead of right here that I was drowning in. I finally started to try to take care of myself and slowly worked my way back up to feeling good and got out of my hole, thank heavens. Starting off, you need to have a good nutrition plan while you're pregnant, before you get pregnant, and after. Especially when you're nursing, that baby is getting so much nutrition, and that nutrition is coming from you. And you're the last one to receive it. So, to start off, I, of course, promote highly doTERRA's Lifelong Vitality Pack of vitamins and minerals. This is the omegas. This is the Cellular Vital Complex, and I'm going to link more information in detail to these things. And this is the Microplex. This is their food and nutrient supplement. It comes in this box, and I order this every single month because it's a month supply, and I now take it religiously. It helps me so much. My energy is through the roof compared to when I don't take it. And I promise I'm not saying that. My cells are working, everything's so much better in my body, and I feel so much more balanced. Another thing somebody recommended to me, a holistic lady that I go through that is just a wealth of knowledge, recommended taking GABA. And I took this, I have to look at it. I took 3 of these a day. Yeah, I took 3 of these a day, the highest dose recommended. Every morning with breakfast, and then I also took 10,000 units of vitamin D3. Even though a part of the time it was in the summer and I was in the sun, I still needed so much vitamin D3, and it really, really helped. I also was taking yellow dandelion. I don't have the supplement bottles anymore. Long story short, again, this is why I haven't been making videos. I couldn't do one more thing. This was the last thing that I could even think about, and it would just give me anxiety again. But I had all those supplements months and months and months ago. It's probably been a year since this has been really severe, and I need to play that song. I can sleep clearly now. This rain is gone. That's what it is. Anyways, I took yellow dandelion for my anxiety as well. I took raspberry leaf, and that was to help my milk stay consistent because I was so worried about losing it during the anxiety attacks. It helped it not drop drastically every time I had them. And I also took mother's milk supplement. Not the tea because I don't like to drink it, but I would take the supplement. I also would use Clary Calm. or clary sage, I'm sorry. There is a blend called Clary Calm, and it's a wonderful. It has the clary sage in it for a hormone balance for women. And then also vetiver. It's wonderful for anything neurological. Just to help me balance myself. And I started to crawl out of my hole. Yay, I'm out of my hole. I still have days where I kind of feel like I have a little bit of anxiety. It's nothing like it used to be. I'm back to the gym. I'm back to running. I'm back to feeling way more centered. But I do take the GABA and the vitamin D3 every once in a while when probably around that time of month when my hormones are just going crazy. I do take these, or if I'm feeling like really low energy, I do take the vitamin D3 for sure. Things like I told you, fennel and basil to help increase my milk supply. I would put a drop of each on my around my breast area and rub it in. I would let it sit for a couple minutes and then I would wipe it off because I didn't want the baby to taste any of it because I didn't want him to shy away from nursing. Also, really quick, and I'm going to touch on all these things in different videos, but this is how I wanted to open because I wanted you guys to know where I was, even though you might not have been concerned, but that's where I was and I'm coming back. I told you about Serenity. doTERRA just came out with a couple different blends and oils, and I absolutely wish so badly that I had these in my life when I was in the hole. I call it the hole because that's what I was in, and I don't know how else to describe it. If you mamas have been in there, please comment. Please share your stories. Share my story. And watch out for mamas and help them. This roll-on called Neroli. Oh, hello. I'm using my laptop instead of my video camera, and I'm hoping it's going to be as good a video as a normal. Neroli. It's a roll-on. It is from a burnt orange. It kind of reminds me of my grandma's perfume growing up, but it's like so calming and pretty. It's a pretty smell. This is very good for anxiety and anxiousness. On my Instagram, I shared this one time that when school had started and we were trying to get back into routine and my kids were really hating getting out of bed and we were fighting in the mornings to get to school on time, I started waking them up with this. I would wake them up, turn the lights on, and I would just massage their back with some neroli oil. Great advice, I promise. But for anxiety, wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. Also, there's Anchor Blend. They came out with some, can you see it? Whoop. They came out with some yoga blend oils. Now, Anchor is one of them, but there's two others that I'll go through over with another video. This is amazing. It is the most, it is by far my absolute favorite oil blend I've ever had from doTERRA. It just calms me. It centers me. I'm not a yogi. I love yoga. I do. I just haven't made time for it in my life like I should. And I'm getting, that's one of my goals. Check. One of my goals soon is to start doing yoga regularly because it's just so important. If you're not meditating, I try to meditate. I try to have my quiet time during the day. But I need to do some yoga. But this Anchor Blend is amazing. It has a bunch of oils in it, concentrated so to help you center yourself, and it's called a steadying blend is what it's actually called, but it really helps me center myself during the day. It's kind of a woodsy smell, and I love to wear it for perfume. So I'm sorry this video is very long, and I apologize for taking so much time, but please, 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 no. Postpartum is real. Postpartum anxiety, depression, it's a big deal. And so many women around you are suffering and they need help. Whether it's a support group, whether it is meals, so that they have to worry about one less thing, but really it's about admitting the problem. That there is a problem and it needs to be confronted. Oh, one more thing. I'm sorry. I really meant to touch on this. I did go to my physician and he did prescribe me a slight dose of an antidepressant. It was really, really, really small. I kind of think it didn't do a whole lot because it was so small, but I was so worried about nursing and being on it. But he reassured me it's very, very safe. I love my physician. I am not against modern medicine. I work in the hospital. I absolutely love modern medicine. but I love the combination of both. I don't feel like it did a whole lot for me, like I said, because I was in such a low dose and I was having a really high anxiety. But with food, nutrition, exercise, and my supplements that I've mentioned, I really think you can help someone. I will leave some links down below. Please share, subscribe, and I will be back with some more fun videos. And with my kiddos too. They've grown up so much in 2 years, and I can't wait to share some stuff with you and how amazing doTERRA is. You guys know my love for them. I love all things natural. And if you have any questions, please email me. I will leave my email as well. And I would love to answer anything I can and direct you where I need to if I don't have the answers. So I will see you guys soon. Thank you so much for watching the end of this video. If you're still with me, I love you, and I will see you very soon.